As the Patriot, Mel Gibson may have played the movie role, but national author, TV, and radio personality Mark Levin wants to bring that persona to the modern-day world via the airwaves.
This is Levin TV. I'm Mark Levin, where we are not fair and balanced. We are 100% pro-American and patriots here.
His new book, Rediscovering Americanism, provides to Americans clues to this country's structural founding and the progressive philosophy trying to fundamentally destroy it.
People are curious about their country. They're curious about its founding. They're curious about liberty. They don't hear a lot about it. You turn on TV, never hear about it. The culture never discusses it.
Levin rights that wrong by going deeper into the writings of top liberal philosophers and thinkers in order to reveal their true agenda.
The early progressives, like Wilson and Crowley and these fellows, they relied on philosophers like Marx and Hegel and Rousseau, all of whom reject the notion of the laws of nature and nature's God. Now that phrase, those phrases, are in our Declaration of Independence. They're not even taught in most public schools. They're certainly not taught in universities and colleges. Yet that goes to the core of our founding.
Levin says rejecting natural law means progressives reject a vital part of civil society.
There are universal laws. There are universal eternal truths, right and wrong, good and evil, a moral order. People are to be virtuous and prudential and be temperate and so forth and so on. And what does it mean, universal truths? Well, these God-given universal truths. Man can't make them, man can't take them away, whether it's in the form of a legislature or a dictator or a vote of your community.
Levin points out President Woodrow Wilson as one of the biggest offenders who espoused a progressive doctrine before taking over as commander-in-chief.
Woodrow Wilson relentlessly attacked separation of powers. He relentlessly attacked the principles of the Declaration. He dismissed them. He dismissed the Declaration as a revolutionary document by pioneers that have nothing to do with a modern and complex society, as he had to be a progressive.
Levin says progressives believe rewriting American history will allow them to create a monster government where the state and individual become one. In other words, a world where elites know best, not you.
Let me ask you a question about that. With this massive administrative state, how are these people experts? They're part of the civil service. They're part of a public sector union. Some of them have their jobs because of seniority. Some of them have them because of affirmative action. Is it based on training? Is it based on Ivy League schools? Is it based on experience? So the whole myth that government's filled with these experts who are noble, who are going to find, who are going to improve healthcare and education and so forth. It's been a myth. It's been a lie from day one, from their philosophers to their thinkers to their current politicians like Bernie Sanders.
Levin says elitism leads to government-created rights never intended by our founders.
Our colonists didn't fight a revolution for health care and food and shelter. They figured, we'll take care of that. We want our liberty. We want our freedom. We do not engage in the battle of ideas, not so much against elites, but elitism. We're going to lose, because most societies are formed by the elites, by the intellectuals, by the academics, whether we like it or not.
You could say this book issues a dire warning: rediscover Americanism or risk losing our country's reason for being. Another example of Levin seeking to play the role of patriot, or possibly that of modern-day founding father, if there were such a thing. Have you ever thought about going back in time to a certain period in history where you might...
Yes.
I had a feeling you might have thought about that. What period of history would have that been?
I would have loved to have been a delegate at the Constitutional Convention. And sometimes I think to myself, I was born at the wrong time. I really do. That the birth of a nation, to have an impact at the birth of a nation, not that I would have done any better, but just to participate in that, I can't think of anything other than family. I can't think of anything more glorious. And so I think that would be it.
What about being a truth teller today, though?
History will judge.
Judging by the bestseller lists, Mark Levin is clearly making a difference. A modern-day patriot, using pen, microphone, and today's media as his weapons to keep the dream of America's founders alive. David Brody, CBN News.